and welcome to everybody here at the Power in Nature Unlocking Freedom in Nature Tuesday Talks. I am Lori Beard, your co-host with Tammy. How are you, Tammy?
Good morning, Lori. And good morning, everyone. And we're excited to be here, and we have an amazing guest to bring on here soon. But before we do, I just want to say thank you. Thanks again for being here today. And make sure you share and like. We appreciate it. And be sure to invite fellow friends or people that you think would enjoy our group. Also, reminder that we do have a virtual event coming up here on January 28th, which just is what, a week away,
Yes, I
which
can't wait.
we will have an amazing guest speaker. So it's a two-part. The first part is a free general session, which will be held at this time next week. But then the second part is a paid part. But that is where we will have Renee here. So do you
Yes,
want to talk a little bit more about it, Lori?
yes, many of you know Renee has been in our show many times. He's so friendly and happy and exciting. He's a great guest. He used to work with the Tony Robbins team and directly with Tony Robbins, and he is a master when it comes to body language. So it's very important in our relationships, in professionally, personally. So please give yourself a chance. Make that 47. Is it 47, Tammy?
$47.
$37 investment for amazing information that Renee is going to share in the VIP session. And also Tammy and I will share more things, more amazingness, right, Tammy?
Oh, exactly. We have it's going to be completely filled. It always goes over. We will be recording both events. But the great thing is, even when you're talking about body language, it kind of goes into what we're talking with Mari about here today, is because if you can read your kids' body language or your spouse's, it's going to help too in the long run. But I'm excited to welcome our next guest, Mari.
Yes. Mari, welcome. Welcome to our talk, Tuesday
Thank you. I'm
Talks.
so happy to be here. Thank you so much. This is a privilege.
Yeah, so Mari, we have an amazing audience. They come in and out, and sometimes they make comments and things like that. So if I'm looking down, is I'm looking at my device, making sure I give a shout out for the people that join us live and make comments and even ask questions to our guests. So I love how Tammy always starts. So let's give it back to Tammy.
So, well, our first question is, where are you from? Where are you coming from? And because we want to hear your story, your journey to how you've gotten to where you are now. So, and while you're explaining that, we'll throw in some questions. So,
Awesome. Okay, where I'm coming from, I'm north of Seattle, so nature is abundant here. We've got the sound, we've got the rivers, we've got the mountains, and definitely something we love getting out in.
it's a
I,
beautiful, beautiful area. I don't,
as you know,
I do. I am so blessed. The Northwest, if you guys
mm,
haven't been to the Pacific Northwest, it is amazing. And the Pacific Ocean, just
mm.
the whole road through California is just amazing. So if you haven't had a chance, I suggest you visit. So but go ahead. Sorry.
Yes, yes, absolutely. We're very proud up here in the, PNW. So my story is I have three kids and started having children really young. I launched my first business in 2008, which is an insurance agency. And in that agency, I coached my team. So 10 years ago, I started coaching my team and would post on Facebook. Monday's my favorite day. I love Monday because I'm not really selling insurance, I'm just coaching. And through that, women started reaching out and asking me, "Hey, Maudie, would you coach me? Hey, Maudie, could I book a call? Hey, Maudie, oh, I see what you're doing and I could use some help." And so about 10 years ago, my Living on Purpose coaching business was launched. And as life changes and things evolve, my practice has meandered through different iterations. And right now, what I'm really focusing on is the conversation around guilt that mothers carry. So you've all heard the term mom guilt. And what I'm finding, I've been doing about a research for about a year. And what I'm finding is there's a lot of shame and embarrassment and feelings around this thing called mom guilt. And so I'm really on a mission to break the conversation just wide open and allow women and moms to share their stories, to be seen and heard, and then offer tips and suggestions to move through it each time, move through it because we can't eliminate it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I understand. I mean, I have two daughters and five grandchildren.
Hmm.
So, and the youngest is turning 15 of the grandchildren of my granddaughter here in February. So, but I totally get it. And what people don't realize is moms need a vacation because we wear so many hats. And I used to take a week off every year and fly down and see my friend, or like, and I know Lori's done this as well. Because if you don't, you feel like you're going insane.
Yes.
So, Marty,
Yes.
what got you to realize you needed to go on this
Mhm.
mission? Like, what's your own experience with mom guilt?
Yeah, thanks for asking that. And this is such a great segue that Tammy just mentioned, going on vacation, because I was on vacation when this literally smacked me upside the head. I was down in Mexico on a women's retreat. And as we were getting to know each other, I knew nobody at the retreat. We're sitting around having the conversation. One of the women said, "You guys, I almost didn't come." And we all leaned in like, "Oh my gosh, you almost didn't come. That's look where we are. It's beautiful. And you want to get your money back. What are you talking about? You almost didn't come." And she said, "Mom guilt." And I looked around the room and every other woman was nodding. And I have to be honest, in that moment, I was like, what is this? I don't understand. I don't feel that way, particularly in this moment. And it was in that conversation and that experience that I thought, okay, this is something that everybody nodded and said that they had. We're not talking about it. I don't understand it. Let me lean in. And that's what started the research project. And through the research project and hearing other amazing mothers' stories, I'm able to say, oh, I actually did experience mom guilt. They're triggering stories of my own. And that is what I want for all of us is to share stories and then it triggers a little bit of awareness in ourselves. And then with that awareness, we can say, oh, I'm experiencing mom guilt. But like Tammy said, I'm still going to go on the vacation. It is imperative because the alternative is insanity, you know?
Oh, when I first did it, oh, the people, the comments, and I'm sure you've run into this, is the negative. How can you leave your husband for a week? Because I just fly down and go to
Yes.
California or wherever. Or how can you leave
Yes.
your kids at home? And
Yes.
I'm like, especially when they're teenagers, you're like, excuse me, there's two of us here.
Nailed it. You nailed it. And it's so interesting. I had an experience recently where I posted something, Tammy, and I got the negative comments. And the story was I have an 18-year-old daughter, and she was home for Thanksgiving. And I don't know about you guys, but when they go to college and come back, it's a whole situation. Or when they leave the home and then come back, it's turmoil, it's chaos, it's learning how to be together again. There's nothing wrong with that. And so by the end of the break, I was ready to just send her back, go back to college. And I put her on the airport shuttle versus driving her 2 hours one way to airport and driving her back. And I posted and I said, hey, moms, just a reminder, holiday season, you don't have to bend over backwards for everyone else. I'm putting A on my daughter. I'm putting her on the shuttle, and so that I can go do other things like take a bath. The responses, the mom guilt, it was like they wanted me to feel guilty about this. And so responses like, or you could have seen it as an opportunity to spend more time with her. Totally, I could have, and I chose not to. This is the mom guilt, and I have a feeling that she wasn't intending that. However, this is what happens, and you've experienced it, and I hope that the listeners watching are maybe even thinking of times that, oh, I experienced it too. Did that affect my outcome? Tammy, it sounds like you went on the vacation
Oh, well,
still.
and some of them were actually trips for work. Because I
Right.
used to do like look for movie stars for like Star Surge and American Idol and stuff, and so I'd fly down to California for because it'd take a week or for church or for different things. And but the guilt that would people would put on you, or if I went to visit my friend, and I know it wasn't intentional, but it was amazing the story. It was like, how could you leave? Why would you leave your husband? And as my daughter actually left, took a week off here in December with her granddaughter and went to California. And I'm like, good job.
Yes.
Because sometimes, and I love traveling with my husband and stuff, but
Hmm.
sometimes we need that week alone or
Hmm.
those alone time days just to think.
Absolutely.
And I know it sounds weird, but but to me it's not. I have to I just need that alone time. I don't want anybody else. I just want to, so if I want to take time to visit or take a bath or do whatever I want, I'm just there.
And Tammy, let me just give you some props because your daughter, the only reason she felt that she could give herself the permission to do that was because you modeled it.
Yes.
This is so important, is that we feel sometimes as we have to bend over backwards and do everything always for our kids. Well, when we're doing that, what are we modeling? We're modeling to put yourself last. And I do not believe that that's what we want for our kids.
No, and we feel, and I'm guilty of it. I mean, there's times I always put most of the time I do put myself last, but
Yeah.
most moms do. And
Yeah.
what people forget is most moms are working another job. They're being the wife, they're being the housekeeper, they're being the medic, the tour guide. You're like every,
Therapist, personal
yes,
shopper. I mean, the list goes on
so
and
many.
on.
Yes. And so it's like, okay, you would give all those employees a break,
Mm,
wouldn't you? You need to give
hmm.
yourself a break. So
So
totally do.
I see here comments from Ika. It's been a long time, Ika. We're glad you're here. She says guilt is the new currency and is the most powerful tool of our subconscious. I don't know if she's referring to guilt, but Ika, if that's the case in you in your situation, these tools can dominate us or control us. And I'm sure Marty's message and Tammy's message is like for you to say, "Hey, halt! I'm not going to allow this to control me." Even though guilt sometimes helps us realize, and like Marty says, like in awareness, it's important for us to then just realize, oh, I'm just gonna let that thought slide by. Bye bye. I need to take care of myself. Guilt and shame on the choices we make and how we are performing as parents or as a mom specifically, it's very natural as long as we don't let that overtake us and control us to a point of detriment where I'm going to repeat it again, right? In the airplanes, they say, put your oxygen mask first. If you're not breathing, how can you help others? So, Aika is also saying one of the best remedies to counter that guilt when we feel we're being selfish is out your mask on before you help others, just exactly what I said. And KLS saying, I had to go away for a weekend away for work and leave the kids behind. But once I
Mm.
remember being at the cinema with a boyfriend watching a horror movie, I felt so worried that I called the let's see, the au pair.
Mm.
Whilst I was in the cinema, I just felt guilty.
Hmm.
So, anyways, I just want to say, not sure how many times I need to repeat this in case someone doesn't know. Tammy has two girls and all those grandchildren. Marty has three kids. I have eight. I have eight kids and living in Texas all for almost than 20 something years. I remember that one of the requests I always had for my husband was for me to go visit my family once a year to Puerto Rico. So I would leave the older kids and then I would bring like a lap child in the airplane to visit my family and to just get salt, and water and go to the beach in Puerto Rico. And can I say I felt guilt? I don't know, but all I remember thinking is, David, my husband, I always come back a better person. I come back restored, re-energized, and refocused, and that always does me well. So because I come back a better person, this is a must. So I don't know. I have felt guilt because I liked cleanliness and I like I sometimes just I didn't sacrifice the house for the kids. I knew they were playing by themselves and they were sharing with each other. There's so many that they always had a, like a little built-in buddy. There's other ways that I have probably manifested it and felt it, but in the sense of getting self-centered and helping myself to be a better person for all, it was easy for me. So, what do you need? What needs to happen? What step do you need to take for you to say, I'm going to step away? So my mind will clear and I can come back a better person.
I want to just point out, I really appreciate Aika's comment because this is something I want to make sure that I touch on is guilt is not a bad emotion. Guilt serves a very fundamental purpose when it's not misplaced. Okay. Guilt says is I've done something bad that probably is not in line with my core values. Okay. With guilt, true guilt, we get to then make amends. We get to apologize if necessary and then change our behavior. What we're talking about when comes to mom guilt, it really actually should be called mom shame because it's the shame of I'm a bad mom. This is the stories. It's not necessarily I've done something bad, it's I'm bad. But as moms, we all mess up. We all do things that we would like to have done differently. And that guilt is beautiful because then it's an opportunity to ask ourselves, ooh, is that how I want to continue to show up? Would I like to apologize? And then move forward and then move on. Um, I also wanted to point on what you said, Lori, is you said, it's realizing that when you go on vacation and then you come back that you're a better person, it's actually easy for you. And I have a feeling it's because it's been practiced for so long because this is a practice.
Yes.
But I have to go back to being in Mexico is when these women said mom guilt and I was like, "Oh, I don't feel that." I've been really trying to tap into why. What is it different about me that makes me feel it a little like less heightened than other folks I'm talking to? And two things have emerged for me is one, having kids in before social media, like just before social media, and I was a single mom. And so there was nobody to compare myself to.
Like outside influences to, yeah.
There was no outside influences. And also
Mhm.
because I had kids so young, I also didn't have the outside influences of my peers,
Yeah.
of my friends being the perfect Pinterest mom or whatever. And Pinterest wasn't even a thing, right? And so this is just another piece to be aware of is when you're on the social or around your people, if you find yourself feeling badly about how you are as a mother, can you take a step back? Because that's the compare and despair that we all get into. And that's where we might let this mom guilt stuff really hold us back from living a life on purpose.
So what I'm feeling, what I'm gathering is like it's kind of like our muscles and our body signals, like pain, headaches. Oh my goodness, we have here someone that is an expert in headaches, and sadly, and she's learned to embrace it, but doing something about it too. But pain just indicates that there's something off in our body, out of alignment, like you said. In terms of guilt, or shame, it's like out of alignment with our values, etc. But once we realize, wait a minute, is this realistic? Is this rational or irrational? And no, like sometimes we feel guilt because we're screaming and yelling at them out of our we're already impatient and we're already at the end of our rope, like we say, and because we haven't taken that time off, maybe that's when we yell and scream, and then yes, we feel guilty because that's against the way we would like to interact with our children. So it is just a very interesting topic. It's complex, but also there's lots to learn and be aware of. And in the context, Mari, especially over there, that you're surrounded with so much nature, and in your research, what is it that people refrain from doing or neglect themselves from doing? We talked about art and nature and experiencing new things and being creative. What's your experience in your research?
It's everything, Lori. It's heartbreaking and it's so I feel so privileged and so grateful for these women who are sharing their stories with me because it is across the board. Mom guilt holds them back from doing things like hanging out with friends or going to concerts or going on date night to writing their book to going on a walk by themselves or taking themselves out to lunch. Or mom guilt holds them back from working outside of the home. It's so, like you said, it's so complex. Uh, and I'm gonna suggest that, and this is gonna sound super cliche, so stay with me here because folks are like, well, what do I do? What do I do? You nailed it. I don't want to go to concerts. I don't want to write my book. I don't want to, you nailed it all. What do I do? So my thought is awareness. And I know we've heard this, but I have a even more tactical way to figure out your awareness. When people say like get present or tap into your intuition, I'm always like, but how? But how? Tell me actually how to do that. And through the research, I created a mom guilt survey. And yes, it helps the research because it gives me statistics to go talk to people about the numbers, especially people who aren't really into feeling. Maybe some dads out there, maybe some partners out there don't really believe our feelings. And so I have the numbers to prove it. So it helps me. But this mom guilt survey helps everyone who takes it build awareness. When you reflect on things like, when was the first time you experienced mom guilt? That is awareness. When you reflect on, how is mom guilt holding me back in my friendships? Specific examples, that is building awareness. When you answer the question, does mom guilt affect your partnership or relationship? This is how the awareness is actually found, and then we can move past it or through it or make different decisions.
And so I know, okay, so I'm going to throw this out there. So as a young mom, because I was only 19, almost 20 when I had our daughter. But those first years, I mean, I had them around because I didn't have any family or people that I really trusted to watch my girls. But that's where that spouse needs to step up and like give you that freedom to go take your bath or do those things because you've been around those children all day long,
Yeah.
and I think what people forget is it's not about just taking a break once a year.
Mm,
It's about taking a break weekly because otherwise our society has gotten into their heads that Mother's Day is our day of break. If we only get one day a year, we're going to all go insane.
yeah.
Yes.
Give me a
So,
break.
right? And what it is, and what is guilt? Guilt's fear. It's fear
Mm.
that we're going to be, failure as a mom. And I realize there's some moms out there that probably shouldn't be moms because
Mm,
they don't take the time for their kids ever. And they're just putting themselves first 24 hours a day. But most moms, they put their children and everyone else first. And
mm.
I'm sure that's what you've found.
Yes. Yes. And to maybe whoever is watching this, the invitation is, if you are a mother and you're feeling like you don't get that time, can we be brave? Can we be vulnerable and ask for help from our partners, right? Because if we've lived a certain way for so long, we've trained our people how to treat us, and that's okay. And if we're all of a sudden realizing that we need different, or we need more, or we need some alone time, can we be brave and ask for that and take ownership and responsibility for creating that space in our own lives and not just kind of cross our fingers and hope that they offer?
Well, and it's like I was looking back, I was talking with a friend kind of about this. It was
Hmm.
slightly different. And we were talking about how in the older days, moms didn't work two jobs a lot unless they worked on a farm or a ranch. But usually they were the ones expected to be at home with the kids and keep the house clean and have three meals, the leave it to beaver stage. But what people forget, and so then the dads would come home and expect that, right? But what then they forget is now all these moms and wives have that extra hat of working too. And so we're even carrying more load
Oh,
and
yes.
we're not getting more of a break. We're carrying more. And there's some amazing dads and partners out there that pitch in. all the time, which is awesome. And because it's a partnership, everybody needs to pitch in, and you need to give each other breaks and give permission to take
Yeah.
breaks, right? And so I think that's where it kind of, because I was kind of studying it, I was like,
Mhm.
huh, it kind of almost in what people for, because you always hear how the younger generations enabled, how we've enabled,
Mm.
but it's because they grew up not doing chores. Well, if you look back in the old days, a
Mm.
lot of guys, it was always the women, the girls that were, oh, go pick up their plates, go do this from a young age, instead of
Mhm.
the fact that, oh no, we all pitch in. I grew up on a farm where you had everybody pitched in. It didn't matter your age, sex, or whoever, you pitched in. But I know families that didn't do that, which enabled, so when those adult males expect to be waited on and have everything done, their beds made, their laundry done. So when we don't give our kids chores to do,
Mhm. Mhm.
and it's frustrating because it frustrates us as a mom because it
Yeah.
doesn't give us any time away. If we're constantly having to do all of that stuff, we need to step up those chores and help people. It helps them grow, right?
Absolutely. I totally 100% agree with that. The invisible workload is we need to continue to talk about that, that is put upon us. And then also, just really taking ownership in the chores and the responsibilities and our expectations for our littles. Because it's so true. It's like if we don't give them an opportunity to take care of their own stuff, what will happen as they get older? And also if we don't give them an opportunity to help out, we don't ever get that time alone. So
I
I mean, it feels like it's on us and it might be a little work in the front end and it will be so worth it.
Yeah, and then also the all or nothing, like if it's not done my way, I'd much rather do it. And then we become victims of this very overwhelming environment that it's self-inflicted. We've created it ourselves. Aika is asking, she says, can you ask our guest where she thinks this guilt is grounded? Is this a generational guilt passed on? Um, and she's is saying, I wonder if there is a relation to how much we trust our partners to actually take care of the child the way we feel it needs to be taken care of. Yeah, that perfectionism, the all or nothing, my way or the
Mhm.
highway. We sometimes need to let go. I remember packing a huge diaper bag for my babies for Sunday church attendance, and I said, I came back from that trip and I'm like, you didn't, I mean, this diaper bag is just perfectly like nothing. Like you didn't take the diaper bag. And my husband dresses up with a tie for Sunday and all that. And he's like you didn't bring like snacks or diapers or little quiet toys for the kids to play during the service. And he's like, no. And I'm like, what did they do? What did they play with? My tie, my hands, we survived. We didn't need that big bag. And I'm
I love that.
ever since, ask me if I packed maybe, diapers and wipes in the car. Like, anyway, so I learned so much. But yeah, so if you want to try to answer
Yeah,
Aika's
definitely.
where
Where it
she
comes
thinks,
from.
yeah.
Okay. So, first of all, Aika, is what I would suggest is trying to recall your very first experience of mom guilt because I believe this is both probably generational, absolutely, for sure passed down, and also societal and cultural. And so when we think of this would be interesting. When you can think of your very first experience, I challenge you to consider pregnancy. Because what is emerging from the research is that mom guilt actually starts before delivery. And as women were sharing these stories, and it kind of blew my mind, right? I'm like, oh my gosh, you're not technically like a mom yet, right? You don't have the baby in your hands, you got the baby inside. How are you experiencing mom guilt? But I don't understand. And then they started to share their stories, and it dawned on me, oh my gosh, I have the same ones. That time that I was 8.5 months pregnant, so very visible. And I went through the coffee stand and I ordered a decaf, whatever I ordered. And the barista was handing it halfway, and looked at me, looked at my belly, looked at me, and she goes, there's decaf or there's caffeine in decaf. And I was like, No, I didn't. No, never mind. I don't need coffee. And it's that. It's those. Or when I was registering for my first baby at 20, I had no idea what I was doing, and I registered for a pacifier. And my mom said, "Well, I didn't need those when I was raising kids."
I
It's
have those stories.
unintentional. It's absolutely unintentional, but as we share and reflect, we can see, oh my gosh, it's everywhere. It is everywhere. So to answer your question, I believe that it's generational, cultural, societal, and also it starts well before you even start to consider it.
So
Yeah.
I have a quick question here. So what advice would you give for those that want to help those that with their friends and when they see somebody experiencing that mom guilt, how can they help?
Start the conversation. Just start talking about it. So a couple years ago, probably like 10 or 7, I started posting about going to therapy. And every time I went to therapy, I'd post, and Tom and I go to marriage therapy. We'll never stop because nobody's taught how to be a mom or how to be married. And so I started posting about this. And by doing it and opening up the conversation about therapy and mental health, I destigmatized it. Then folks felt comfortable coming to talk to me. So by us sharing our mom guilt stories, we open up this Pandora's box to the conversation. And as soon as we start the conversation, then we can make different decisions as a friend. And then my second tip would be exactly, Tammy and Lori, what you guys are doing, which is just model it. Model self-care unapologetically, and maybe even start talking about how, ooh, I felt a little guilt. And I did it anyway. It's these permission slips that we're giving out to other friends and moms that will help them make the decision in spite of the guilt next time.
I think
Did
we
that
also, yeah, that totally makes sense. That helps. Thank you. Thank you. That answers. And I think also as women in general, maybe there's some guys here in this group. Let us know if you feel some kind of guilt, because I know guys are supposed to be problem solvers. They're supposed to be the ones that are the heroes or the knight in shining armor, right? Rescuing the princess from the castle, sort of speak. But let us know how you experience guilt one way or another if you're a guy. And also, if you're not a mom, also, I know as female, as women, we do that. We feel guilt for so many other reasons. I'm a mom, so of course I'm going to experience more than mom guilt. But at the same time, let us know how you experience it. I know that there's a lot of coaches here, a lot of creatives, a lot of coaches, and heart center people that offer services. And I know they don't take time to take care of themselves because they're taking care of everybody else. So, Mari, with all the services, we have coaching programs and adventure retreats, signature retreats, connection retreats. What do you tell our audience they need to do to tap into that self-care, um, letting go of guilt for them to participate and say yes to themselves? Yes, say yes, because you said that you were in this retreat when someone asked the question and, hey, do you feel guilt? Or if somebody said it.
Yeah.
But what do you tell our audience to say yes to themselves or saying yes to any of these programs or any other great opportunity they can find?
I would give permission and I would invite your audience as- to give themselves permission to spend the money and the time and the energy and the resources on themselves. We are worth we are worth the investment 100%. And I also want to say I love the analogy of the gas or the air mask, right? The airbag or whatever you. My husband's a pilot. I don't even know how to say it. Put your thing on
Oxygen
first.
mask
Yeah.
on.
Oxygen mask. Yeah.
And here's the permission that I want everybody to hear. Put your oxygen mask on first. End of story. You do not need a reason for self-care. Your self-care does not need to be hinged on saving anyone else. So, yes, we can get comfortable with putting our own oxygen mask on so that we can help others. We can practice that enough to where it is safe to put our own oxygen mask on solely for the purpose of ourselves.
Yes, absolutely.
Exactly. Love that. Because what people realize, like Lori said, just because you don't have your kids at home or your grandkids or whoever, you still need to put that oxygen mask on and take care of yourself. give yourself permission to go on trips, to join our virtual retreat. It's like it is always good to learn new things and to take that time off. And each morning, start your morning with taking some time for yourself, just to drink a cup of coffee or go
Mm.
on a walk. You know, of course, I encourage people when you can to go outside, but it's very, very cold here. It's only like 20 degrees outside at the moment. So a little bit harder to go
Yeah.
outside, but a lot of us live in nice areas. So
And when it comes to the investment, I know you guys are hosting retreats and you are talking about spending $47 to sit with Renee and have this amazing conversation about body language. When we invest in ourselves, we take it slightly more seriously, okay? And so I cannot, especially as coaches and creatives, like, what about giving ourselves permission to spend money on us? Because guess what's going to happen with our art? We are going to ask others to be spending their money and resources on us as well. So let's model that. Invest in yourself first so that we can, with integrity, ask those to invest in us. Does that make sense?
totally. And don't expect discounts from friends and family. I'm going to throw that out there because, and I was at, with my coaches and stuff, I was helping to do well, it wasn't a retreat. It was what was the elevate, what the thing that I went to Scottsdale
Like a
for?
workshop?
Lori, it was a huge event down in Scottsdale with
Yeah,
Kane and
yeah,
Les.
with Kane and Les, yeah. Hmm.
But I was working with like Kevin Harrington and Les Brown and stuff down there. And the thing they kept saying is because people come up, Kim, will you do this for free? And they're like, no, because if we did it for free, you wouldn't follow through on anything. You need to invest in yourself and invest your time. Besides, they need paid. So when you invest in a coach, we know you're going to take it more serious. We know when you invest in a retreat with us or an adventure or one of our courses or with Marie, you are going to be more serious and you're going to follow through because it's like this little thing in the back of your mind that's saying you're invested in this. If we give it to you for free, you would, it's like we're giving you these Facebook Lives for free with guests that give so many golden nuggets. And I don't even know if people realize how much goes into one of these lives each week
Yes.
just to have it here,
Have the
and
graphics, the guests, the registration form.
all of our inspirational posts that we both try to put on each day to help people, to inspire you and to encourage you. And we love that. We love to encourage and inspire. But at the same time, we like to get paid as well because we like
Mhm.
to be able to travel, invest
Mhm.
in coaching and different things ourselves because that's what we do. Because it's twofold, right?
Yeah, so I totally get what you're saying, Tammy, and it's very important. And Marie, thanks for reinforcing that. And let me tell you something. It's the same. If you don't invest on your health now to be in being healthy, you're going to invest later in the cure. If you don't invest right now in sanity, in your mental health, in your personal development, you're going to pay for it later another way, like paying a professional, a mental health, like therapy and things like that. Not bad. It's still important. But instead of investing to prevent, right, as a preventative measure, you are, what is it, correcting, or you are reacting to something that you could have prevent if you gave yourself permission, because also very important message is you are worthy of it. You are worthy of it. I know right now, I know, and I love you if you're watching, people that haven't made very crucial decisions in their lives, just thinking of others and their children, their adult children even, and they have paused their progress, paused designing their life, creating a blueprint of their life, living their life by design, paralyzed because of some of these fears that you could even, those fears can even just go kerplot if you act and you become your own superhero. When you become your own superhero, then your own children will say, wow, mom did this, dad did this. Now something awakens within them that want to help them emulate or want them to do as you're doing, taking care of yourself and summoning that courage, that confidence to, despite the fears, you're going to go conquer. Every decision has risks, but what if you never try it and stay there? So my friends, I want to encourage you with Mari's message today, Tammy's encouragement to just do it. Do it. This is the year of action. I don't know about you. What's your word, intention, purpose? But my word this year is do and or action. So
Well,
it's
and you
very
have to,
important.
it is. Thank you, Lori. And yes, you have to take action. And it is about our mental health. And mental health is just as important as our physical health. Because if your mental health isn't there, it's going to degrade your physical health is going to go down as well. And so it's like, take care of it. And I love the fact, Marty, that you were talking about your marriage therapy and stuff. And it's like, I've always said, it's like, go to marriage conferences and, you have to do those date nights and stuff because you have to work on your marriage all the time. You just don't let it go. You just like, you have to work on yourself, so give yourself permission to go on those adventures, retreats, to join a course, hire a coach, hire a mentor, to do little things to big things. Give yourself permission to have that cup of coffee. Anything else you would love to add?
No, I would just love to invite everybody to take the mom guilt survey. It would be a gift to me, and I know that there would be so much awareness and realization. And I really do believe it is the first step to giving yourself permission to live a life free of mom guilt.
And we'll have you put it in the links after once this is over so that people can sign up there and so they can contact you too. So
this has been wonderful. Thank you.
So anything else, Lori? We can't hear you.
Ika also said interrupting the cycle. Yes, let's interrupt that mom guilt or women's guilt, whatever guilt in our cycle. Let's act. Let's just throw ourselves in the bathwater and it's going to be great. It's like business that doesn't update or move with the times will become stagnant. So we too need to learn absolutely and take action. So thank you, Mari. Thank you for your wisdom and for being on this mission, which is very important. I can see your passion. I can see how your research have helped you gather information on finding these common denominators that are life inhibitors, and we need to just be our own heroes, our best advocates to take action and do things differently because wow, we will be surprised at what we can accomplish with that.
It's a great topic. So many people I see stressed over this, and I'm guilty because, a lot of times we're like going and going and I think it was just yesterday, I told I'm like, I'm starting to feel guilty because I'm not taking any time for myself and I need to take time for myself.
And when Tammy does that, I'm like, look at her, so good. And I'm like, I want to celebrate it because she takes work serious. She takes, and I want to say I do too. But at the same time, yeah, people, we need each other. We need each other. And like Marty said, we need to like help each other, start the conversation. So
babysit for a friend if you see they're like really stressing out and don't have that time, or don't have somebody that can babysit for them. Offer to babysit for an hour or two so they can just have time for themselves, or send something encouraging to them that they're doing, that they are a great mom, or people need to hear it.
That goes with also wanting to also solve everything and be the hero for everybody and stretch ourselves to, afar, and then we can snap or spread ourselves too thin. And, we can offer babysitting if we feel it from our heart and we really have the time, but we can find
only if you have the time. If you don't have the time, don't do it.
Or we can find the resources and give them ideas and then leave the ball on their court. I say this out of that is the part where I have more problems. Like people share their stories or whatever, and I feel like I want to fix it for them, be their savior. And I've learned not to take it upon me, be a sounding board, and then whoop, here, I'm going to throw it back at you because I don't want to carry those burdens that are not mine. They don't belong to me. So also decisions
be able to say no.
Exactly. saying yes to no, and also don't feel mama guilt for our adult children's, not even our teenage children decisions. That's sometimes a guilt I've experienced. If they make a decision that goes against our value or really messes up something, and wow, it's going to ruin our reputation because our child's not the perfect child, and I have this performance, desire to just be the perfect family, the perfect child. Do not also step away from that type of guilt. Oh my goodness, we came up with it just as we are saying goodbye, but it's a guilt that I have suffered from, and I have said no, I'm not carry this burden, this baggage on my shoulders. It doesn't belong to me. My children's decisions is not a reflection, for good or for bad. They say, oh, you have such a great son or daughter because of you. I'm like, because of their own choices.
Right.
Or, I wonder if they make bad choices, what are they going to think about me too? So be careful.
And this has come up big time. I mean,
Yeah.
Lori, and the thing is, I want to just say you're not alone in that. And what we see on social media is the highlight reel. And we as moms would be completely out of integrity if we posted our children's failures, especially I have 2 adult children, especially if we posted theirs. So you're never going to see my adult children's failures, but I can tell you right now that they fail a lot because I've given them permission to. And I am going to start hosting mom guilt roundtables to create a safe space to share this stuff. Because what you're sharing right now, we don't see, which leads to the shame, which leads to the loneliness, and it exacerbates. So follow me on Instagram. I will let you know when the next mom guilt roundtable is so you can show up and just sit in conversation in a safe way.
Without judgment and feeling like you're in a safe place. That is wonderful. Thank you for creating that. That is very important. And Mari, after we talk, I think I need to connect you with someone that I think you're gonna like. So
Beautiful.
awesome. Anything else? Any comments? Mari's here in our
So
group.
make sure
Are you
you
in our group so
encourage
you can
each
leave
other.
your
Don't make people feel guilty, right?
invest in yourself.
Learn to say no.
Avoid the comparing game.
I think we need to everybody needs to watch this 3 times because you're going to pick something else up every time you watch it. This was a loaded conversation in the best way possible.
We're just going to have you back on.
Oh
yeah.
How's that sound?
Sounds great.
We should have you around Mother's Day is when we should have you back on.
Beautiful, beautiful. Because I have some stories about how I ditched the whole family for myself. And so we can save that one.
Awesome.
What a great idea.
All right. So we want to just say thanks. Make sure you check out the website and of course, Facebook. We're posting different things and we love your inspiration and your guys' encouragement too. So thanks for being here and we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.